The Money Show with Rick Schaefer and Susan Kaplan.
Welcome back to hour number two of actually we're in the middle of hour number two of today's version of the Best Money Show on radio. My guest today is Rich Rosa, who is a founder and one of the brokers at Buyers Brokers Only, LLC. Let's talk about Buyers Brokers Only, LLC in particular. When was it established, and give us a little history of how it got established and then grew?
Sure. We started the company in 2005, myself and my business partner, Dave Kress. Dave was actually a law clerk of mine when he was in law school. Mm-hmm. And when he graduated, I suggested to him that he might want to get his real estate broker's license. And he did, and he did quite well, actually, the first year. And we started talking about starting a company just represent home buyers. Mm-hmm. And sort of the way the conversation went is we just felt like the industry was very seller focused, and we wanted to sort of, try to level the playing field for home buyers, and that's sort of how the idea was born. And we started Buyers.
What year was that?
2005.
Okay, so you've gone through the difficult times as well.
Yes, I mean we started in November 2005. So shortly after we started, the market started to sort of disintegrate.
Yeah, right. That's a good word.
And then maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, we brought on our first broker, mm-hmm. and as of right now, we have about 24 of us altogether.
And what geographic areas do you cover?
We cover the whole greater Boston area. Matter of fact, this week we're adding a broker who's in Falmouth, so we're going to cover the Upper Cape, okay. All of the South Shore, all the way out to Worcester County, and up to southern New Hampshire.
So you have some brokers who are licensed in New Hampshire as well?
Yes, 3 of them, yeah.
Okay.
One is in Portsmouth. My business partner Dave is licensed there, and another broker who's in Dunstable who covers Nashua and that area.
So from your answer, I assume that if somebody comes to your office, to you, for example, but they want to buy in southern New Hampshire, you're going to refer them to the broker who works that area and is most knowledgeable of that area.
Sure, and most people, that's how it works. They contact the office, and depending on where they tell us they're looking for a home, we put them in touch with that particular broker.
All the brokers at Buyers Brokers LLC are attorneys, which I think is a great idea. But how did you come up with that decision that only attorneys could work as brokers for Buyers Brokers Only LLC?
When we first started the company, Dave and I were obviously both attorneys, and so when we decided to start adding brokers to the company, we thought that it would be a good idea to just keep it as attorneys only, mm-hmm. and try to keep a high level of professionalism and people that sort of, real estate's an industry where it's good to have someone who dots the I's and crosses the T's, and that's kind of what lawyers do.
Along those lines, 2 questions. If you want to join Buyers Broker, you have to be an attorney. Do you, A, have to be an attorney in Massachusetts? B, do you have to be an attorney who specialized in real estate, or you just have to be an attorney?
You just have to be an attorney. I mean, all of our attorneys are either licensed in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, but technically you wouldn't have to be licensed in either one of those states as long as you were an attorney. Because we're not practicing law.
But like yourself, you don't. The attorney doesn't necessarily have to have specialized in real estate. They can have specialized in any area. That's correct, and we give our new brokers training and that sort of thing. We were talking earlier about the fact that you don't charge any. You get paid out of the commission that the seller's paying. But you take it a step further. You actually offset the cost of the buyers hiring their own real estate attorney. Is that correct? That's true. We provide a small rebate after closing. It's based on the price of the house. It's either $200, $350, or $500, mm-hmm. And we do that because we think it is so important that buyers get a attorney to represent them. And so that's why we do that. I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm not just saying that because you're a client, an advertiser. I've been saying that for the 25 years I've been doing the Money Show. To me, buying a home is, for 90% of people, the biggest expense, the biggest purchase they're going to make. To not have an attorney represent you when you're going to be spending a quarter, a half, $750,000 it's so penny wise and dollar foolish. It makes no sense to me.
Well, going back to what we were just talking about, it's always been a seller-focused industry.
Yep.
And the documents that are used, what's referred to as the standard purchase and sale agreement, is very slanted towards the seller.
Yep.
It's slanted towards getting the deal done. And a good real estate attorney is going to add an addendum to that, or sometimes it's called a rider, to that document, that purchase and sale agreement. And sometimes that's a 4 or 5 page addendum with 25 additional paragraphs.
My addendum is oftentimes longer than the boilerplate purchase and sale agreement.
Absolutely, and it's vital. I mean, there's so many paragraphs that need to be altered to protect the buyer's interest.
It's almost a joke at this point because a lot of attorneys will represent both buyers and sellers. And when I usually represent buyers when I'm representing someone, and I'll call the seller's attorney, and they've already made changes to half of the paragraphs because for example, on the if the buyer defaults, then the only recourse the seller usually has is to retain the deposit. The document, the boilerplate you're talking about, doesn't read that way, but every seller's attorney in the world agrees to that. So it's gotten to the point of being absurd. They should just change the document so that it's for both buyers and sellers. But there is another reason why someone really should have a buyer's broker. In fact, I assume you not only refund money for people to get a good real estate attorney, but you'll also refer, if they want, you refer people to good real estate attorneys, property inspectors and the like.
We actually, right at the beginning of the process, we actually give them a list of about 7 or 8 attorneys right from the beginning and say, when you get to that point, here are 7 or 8 attorneys that we recommend. They're not required to use those attorneys, obviously, but people want recommendations, so we provide that. Same with home inspectors. In fact, what we do for our clients is when an offer is accepted, we immediately send out an email, and that email has a link in it to a web page that we've created that has lots and lots and lots of information about home inspections, videos, links to different state sites to get different information about home inspections, and then at the bottom of that page, we recommend about 8 or 10 different home inspectors.
So you're really not only representing the buyer, but you're trying to educate them on the process.
Absolutely.
Because the more knowledge they have, the better they're going to do, and also they're going to make better choices and feel more comfortable about it. Most buyers are especially first-time home buyers, are very nervous.
Yes, yeah, and that's really what that's really kind of the client that we get anyway, is the type of person who does a lot of research, wants to learn, and that's how they end up finding us to begin with.